first video in my office slash streaming room. I got to set the scene by saying I appreciate you guys' patience. It's been like a week since I've uploaded a video. I did stream a couple of days ago, but y'all know how moving is. It can be fairly taxing, time consuming, getting everything set up and stuff. This is not the video studio, and I want to be very clear about that. This is just a room in which I will shoot a lot of videos like this when I'm going on my desktop and stuff like that, but I also will shoot 4K and say in this room. But the actual video studio where we'll be doing like reviews and some of the videos where I'm going through different topics and stuff like that, that is in other rooms. So again, appreciate you guys' support, appreciate you guys' patience. It does feel good to finally be back. Nothing's changed. Still have the wrinkly shirt on deck. You know how it works. Nothing has changed, but I'm back. Hopefully we are about to get back to consistent videos. So there's that. With that being said, I've been a little late. I recognize that. Sonic came out, and I didn't get to discuss what everybody wanted me to discuss. And it was a compare and contrast because they were released, I believe, a week apart. And that is between that and Birds of Prey. Now, I do think there's a lot of people that are getting lost in what's happening here. And I want to go through a little bit of that. First, let me show you something. So there are these weird stand accounts. Y'all know how I feel about this. These are weird to me. These are just so weird that you get these stand accounts that exist on Twitter and such. But some people are frustrated, and I think a lot of people were betting on the failure of Sonic. Certainly considering that a lot of people that would, I guess, maybe watch Birds of Prey, the audience would maybe watch this because the whole nostalgia, because the whole nerd culture thing, considering that one's comic books, one's this, games and stuff like that, though they're not really the same. And really, I'd argue that both of them are different target audiences in a slight sense, but there's going to be a comparison because of that. And they are going to be pit against each other. That this isn't one of the movies that or two of the movies that I'd really pit against each other because they are different. But I do understand why people are doing it. But I do think a lot of people are getting lost in why one succeeded and why one didn't. As frustrated as some of these Harley Quinn, or more so, let's say, Margot Robbie fans and stans, I know they don't want to believe it. And even some people on the opposite side don't want to believe it as well. But I think it's just people getting lost here. The reason why one did better than the other, certainly initially, it's not that difficult. It's really easy to understand. One, and by one I'm meaning Sonic, we saw a critical error that they were about to make. If you remember the original design of Sonic, they basically got shamed into changing it. Tried to humanize him a little bit too much. And I thought that was very important. And this is what I would incline me to want to support this film, is because studios don't really generally do this. And that they made an adjustment. They recognized that there was a problem here. He looked funny. The audience didn't like it because it didn't look like the character that they had known and loved. So instead of being arrogant, put a little more money into it, changed it. And the movie itself, to a lot of people, it has that, not just a nostalgia effect, but it kept things that, you know, in like the visual and stuff like that, what you would deem to be associated with Sonic. And that's what it's about. You take a movie, or you take a franchise, a brand, in this case, that people already understand and recognize. That's the only reason you're doing this movie. You're taking something that people already know exists. Your job if you want to make money, that is not to sit up here and just try to change it to suit your own personal beliefs, but to make it relevant, yet keep it core to what people expect from the character. And that's what they were able to do. On the opposite side, Birds of Prey, they didn't do that. They took characters, made them virtually unrecognizable to their source material. Cassandra Cain being probably the most criminal, tokenized Black Canary, all of that stuff. But they made the characters completely unrecognizable, removed Oracle, Barbara Gordon is not even in the picture, calling the movie Birds of Prey, which is crazy to me. And then they marketed it to, it's like, Sonic went the non-arrogant way when they made the changes, and Birds of Prey went the very arrogant way when they took a culture, comic book culture, which we know who that appeals to for the most part. Not saying that women aren't part of comic book culture. They absolutely are. What I'm saying is that the primary audience when it comes to a consumer, let's say that when it comes to comic books, are men. And when I say the marketing was messed up, I talked about, Ewan. Y'all know Ewan. My man's Ewan McGregor. But Ewan. He instead, and others, Margot, on the campaign trail, women, feminism. This is a feminist film. We're tackling misogyny. You're completely Xing out potential consumers. And not to mention the movie itself. That's just on the promotional stuff. And this is what I attribute the biggest problem when it comes to the shortcoming, underperformance, is to the campaigning and the marketing. But even when you look at the actual film, right? You look at the actual film. What it does is it takes how do I explain this and try to be less offensive as I possibly can? The film took what people, in terms of the characters, they understood who they were. Birds of Prey, Oracle, Canary, Huntress, Lady Blackhawk. But they took this and made it as if the creators, and it was Margot Robbie's production studio that was part of it, as if they just had every intention on making it about them. And this is what I've talked about before. And I talked about how it was about them. They made this movie about them, about her. And it was a Harley Quinn film. It should have never been called Birds of Prey. But it's one of the things that we see even problems with in the comic books, where you get people that don't seem really invested, certainly not mentally, in honoring what these characters are all about as far as what the consumers understand them as. And it's more about them just hijacking them and putting their own personal preferences out there and personal agendas, if you will. That's what they do. And this is what you get. One took the opposite route. Even when they were going in the direction that people did not like, they made a change. And this is what I want people to understand, more so studios to understand out of this. That is, it's okay to admit fault. It's okay to take a particular criticism and make an adjustment. Now, I'm not saying you make an adjustment to every criticism, because all criticism is legit. But when you have your potential fan base shouting at this, saying, this is not what we want, if you want to make adjustments or make money, you got to make the adjustments there. That's what the trailers, I feel like, that's why they exist. It's almost a test run where you put it out there and you see how your audience responds. And you have time, granted, most of the stuff is probably already recorded. But you have time to adjust your marketing. You have time to, use some B-roll footage, make some adjustments. If you can reshoot certain scenes, you have an opportunity to do that. Not saying that that's always going to be feasible. Not saying that's always should be the case, because sometimes you doom yourself for failure. But you can try. You can try to make the adjustment. And I think what a lot of fans understood in watching this was that, yeah, man, they made an adjustment. I'm now incentivized to go see this. So you had people that, yes, wanted to see a Sonic movie, but also simply appreciated the fact that it was a historic, notable franchise, a notable brand that people understood, grew up with. And in order to try to save it, the studio went back to the drawing board and readjusted something. That took guts. People like that. People love to see that. And they will throw their money at you. It's not even that difficult. It just goes to show that I think a lot of people, when it comes to these marketing teams for these, they're just so out of touch. They're so out of touch with regular consumers. Like, it's like they get all of their advice, all of their news, all of their when they do test run things, they get it solely from their echo chamber. So you get movies like Birds of Prey in terms of the marketing would make absolutely no sense. That type of stuff gets put out there. That's all I'm saying. Make the adjustments and people will go support it. But that's why Sonic did better, astronomically better, when it comes to the expectation than what Birds of Prey did. It's simple. It's not that difficult to understand. But I'm going to wrap it up there, man. I appreciate you. We got a lot of upgrades coming to some videos. Please stick around. Please continue to come back. You know, I'm not going to tell you, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. They're not going to notify you if they don't want to notify you. So just get used to coming back to Young World 59 and checking us out.